Hello, welcome to Sarah Overbooked. I am Sarah, and this is going to be my February update, starting with life in February. Just a basic update on what was going on and why I wasn't doing any videos. Basically the whole month from 1st to 28th, I was packing and moving stuff out to make the move easier because I had to be out on the 28th and I wasn't able to move in until the 1st, so I had some time there that I was not going to have anywhere for my stuff. I was also still curling. It was still in the middle of the season, so Tuesdays and Thursdays I was still out curling. But in February I did drop my working down to part-time, and why I did that was because after my biopsy at the end of the month in January, on the 3rd of February, I was diagnosed with CLL, which is chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And I had my first hematology oncologist appointment on the 4th, and my first bout of testing. Most of my testing was blood work just to see the mutations and the type of CLL, to see if it was genetic, all that fun stuff. But sorry, my cat keeps moving stuff. On the 11th, I had my first big test, which was a CT scan to see how diffuse it was in my body, where it had all gotten to by this time. So as you can imagine, February was not a good month for me. It was also the month I read the least, and here are the books that I read. The first one is The Obelisk Gate, The Broken Earth, book number 2 from N.K. Jemisin. I'm not good at reviewing series books. Don't know what to say. I don't really know anybody that is good at reviewing series, further in the series books. But I honestly wasn't expecting to like this one more than I liked the first one, but I did. This is my favorite book of the series. I think it was mostly because the first book was the world building and the character introductions, and this was more of story forwarding. This one, the season is already well underway, and Essen, our main character, is in an adopted city, and that city is already under, well, all the cities are under crisis because of the season, and her and her companions are dealing with the issues that are coming up, and her husband has brought her daughter to a place where she can train and they can live in another adopted city. That's about all I can say about it, being that it is the second one in the series. My next book that I read was Shades of Grey by Jasper Fforde. This was a reread. I read it 15 years ago, back when it was still newish, but I reread it because Jasper Fforde finally released the second one in the series. But since it's been 15 years, I needed to reread the first one to remember what was going on. This is based in a world that is, on the surface, strictly regulated. Rules for everything. The hierarchy of the society is based on how much color and what color one can perceive. The more color that somebody can see, the higher in the hierarchy they are. If I remember correctly, because this is February, remember, purple is on top, and then purple is on top. If you don't conform to the society, it results in what they call a reboot, which is where they supposedly send people off to be brainwashed back to want to conform to the society. In extreme cases, they are sent to the green room, which is where they show a certain shade of green to the people in there, which actually kills them. So our main character, Eddie, is sent to a city on the periphery of a civilization due to a prank that he pulled on a schoolmate who was higher up in the chromatic hierarchy. And while he is out in the periphery, farther away from the main cities, he is introduced to certain ideas that maybe some things that are going on aren't really what they seem, and that maybe things can change. The next book I read in February was Lending a Paw, a Bookmobile Cat Mystery, #1. This was, this is a cozy mystery. This one was fun. And was, as with most cozy mysteries, the enjoyment of the books is based off of, you have to like the characters that are in the book, and the environment that it's set in, and usually the hobbies and or job of the main character are prominent. So if you like those three, you'll enjoy the book. And this one is libraries. It was based in a tourist town in Michigan, and the characters were fun. So I enjoyed this one. This series follows Minnie, who is a new librarian to the town, who has a cat named Eddie. The cat is smarter than her and is leaving clues of how to solve the mystery that is going on in this book. I'm sure the other books are the same, but I've only read this one. There is no cat point of view. The cat doesn't talk. You don't get any thoughts through of what Eddie is thinking. So that's not a part of this book. This is all through Minnie's eyes. The mystery, which was just meh, it was just a normal cozy mystery, nothing too intricate, was that Eddie ran off when they were out in the bookmobile, and this caused Minnie to find a dead body of somebody that she knew. Of course, it's always somebody they know in these books. The bookmobile itself doesn't play a large part into this mystery. It's just part of her job. That's really the majority of it. It's not really a part of the mystery. It's just her job. The side characters were the normal, flat, no real depth characters you find in these cozies, because at some point in the series they're probably all gonna die. They're the stereotypes with the one personality trait that is emphasized, but because it's a cozy, I expect this out of the characters, and it doesn't bother me when I'm reading a cozy. Basically what I'm saying is this one fits the cozy mold. The next book I read in the month of February was Red Side Story, Jasper Ford's book #2 in the Shades of Grey series. So in Red Side Story, we continue to follow Eddie and his friends in their adventure of what they call life. So Eddie has fallen in love with Jane, who is a gray, which means that she cannot see any color. She sees everything in shades of gray. This is not a relationship that is looked upon kindly. It's very frowned upon. You're not supposed to go down in the hierarchy. You're supposed to strive to go up. Jane is also a leader in the underground. The underground are those that believe that things need to change, and she has convinced Eddie that of the same philosophy, that things need to change. So his non-conformity to the rules is causing him problems with those higher up in the hierarchy. And he's still in the peripheral city, and he's beginning to find out just what rocking the boat with those non-conforming to the rules really means out there. This second installment was not as good as the first. I find that I don't like the second installment in a series. About 90% of the time, it's lower than the first in my ratings. But hopefully we don't have to wait 15 years to get the third book to find out if the third one's going to be up again or down even farther. The next book I read in February was The Water Cure by Sophie McIntosh. This one was my least favorite book that I read in February. It wasn't bad, it was okay. I have seen this book described as feminist revenge fantasy, and that's why I picked it up. It's definitely feminist. It's barely a revenge, and I guess it's fantasy, and not really. I would describe it more of a feminist dystopian science fiction, but that's me. This is a story of a family that moved to an isolated location. It's not really an island, but they kind of explain it as an island. It's weird. And basically the parents, started a cult. This is not the story of that time period of their lives, but you get flashbacks to that. That time of the periods of their life might have been a more interesting story in my opinion, but this is not that story. This is the story of what happens after the cult fell apart and the father left all of the women in their little isolated area, which was 3 daughters and their mother. One day, the mother disappears. Basically, right after the mother disappears, 2 strange men and a boy show up. The sisters were raised through this cult to not trust men in any way, shape, or form. And now they have 3 that are invading their area, and their parents are nowhere to be found. So it was a different type of story, and I haven't really read anything like this before. But like I said, in my opinion, it was okay. Not mad that I read it, but it was nothing special. It was short, which was good. Also, if it had more to do with the cult, or the brainwashing of the sisters, it hit on it, but it didn't really explain it a lot. I probably would have liked it more, but no, that's not what this was. And then the last book that I read in February was my favorite book that I read in February, and it was Mark Lawrence's Red Sister, which is Book of the Ancestor, book 1. So this was a heavy read, and it took me probably most of the month to actually consume it, as my brain was busy with other things, as you can imagine. But I don't think anyone can really read this fast, because there's just too much information that you have to take in with learning the whole world and the magic system of the story. And this is a world where children are taken from their homes and sold to different places, but for different reasons. The 3 main places that they're sold to are the Covenant, the Academy, and the Fighting Rings. How to explain this? These people are descended from the old races, and the more of the old races one has in their blood, the more desirable they are. And basically this is a chosen one story, but the character that we follow is not the chosen one. I do enjoy those types of stories, when you get the point of view of somebody who is not the chosen, but is in the periphery of the chosen. I don't want to say too much, of course, because it's book 1 of a series, but mostly because I would do a horrible job of trying to explain what this book really is and what it's about and how good it is. So I'm just gonna say, give it a try. If you like fantasy, give it a try. And that is what I read in February. Not a lot, but there was a lot of other stuff going on. Yeah, if you have any questions, you want me to talk more about anything, feel free to ask in the comments. Have you read any of the books that I read in February? What were your opinions about them? If you've made it this far in the video and don't have any actual comments that you would like to leave, feel free to put a weapon emoji in the comments for Red Sister, and I will see you for my March wrap up.